Android's shorter check.
Statistically, maybe there could only be one lesbian in every family. Maybe. Yeah, but it is actually. There's a new show by Cara Delevingne, What a Babe, and she talks about if you get exposed to more testosterone. Anyway, this isn't science. I'm just commenting. And so when I found it out, I was.
Can I also thank in advance, rather than waiting at the end, to thank the team of people, I won't name them, you'll see them running around, they'll be quite obvious here, they've got the little name tag. I want to thank all of them for the work that they've done, in addition to their normal work and other work, to bring this off. So thank you. Join me in thanking them with a round of applause.
It is a pleasure to welcome you all to the Diversity in Education Conference as part of the first World Pride ever held in the Southern Hemisphere. As mentioned, I'm Susan Hopgood and I'm the President of Education International, the Global Union Federation of Teachers and Education Support Personnel, now representing 383 organisations in 178 countries. And many of you
This is based on someone's sex, sexuality and gender identification, such as homophobia, biphobia, transphobia, heterosexism and monosexism, not only have a devastating impact on the people who are subjected to them, but they're an infringement of workers' rights and they must be challenged and eliminated. Every person has the right to identify or not identify themselves in a chosen way regarding their own sex, their sexuality and gender, and that is a right that we as a society must uphold. But unfortunately, with the right-wing media and conservative forces here in Australia, political and ideological interference has directly targeted public education, and that includes homophobic and transphobic targeting of staff and students. It's often designed to erase.
And I bring that up because high school and schooling was not necessarily a successful endeavor for myself. And it was because of the love and dedication of a teacher that I had in high school who profoundly saved my life. And it's because of that teacher that I made the promise that one day I would consider or think about doing the same for another student. And so my life evolved. I joined the United States military, and I served this country and had many tours overseas, including a couple of tours here in the Pacific Rim. I lived in Korea and Japan. But I also served in the military at a time. I'm old enough to serve in a time.
What really frustrates me about policy, particularly for groups that are deemed by society as being in a minority, is that quite often they are all lumped together. I said earlier in the Engaged Classrooms package, which supports First Nations students, it also covers students with a disability and students experiencing trauma. The other alternative for policy, if they don't, lump all the minorities together, is that they might skirt around the issue. The National School Reform Agreements initiatives are better senior secondary pathways and better data quality. So will those two initiatives help LGBT plus students? Yeah, probably. Do they directly address the issues experienced by LGBT students? No.
Voices together, and together we're stronger than alone. So I'm really delighted and feeling very inspired to be here. Thanks.
Thanks. So hi everybody. I'm Julien Poirier. I represent the FSU in France. So it's social transformation trade union for every public workers in France, and it's also the first trade union in education. And for this organization, I'm in charge of the LGBT rights in education, but also for against all discriminations, so equality, and as well in charge of secularism. You know, in France it can be something important. About that, I do monitoring, advocacy, support, training, all the things that you know that trade unions do. And so far today, I've been really impressed by all the quality of every.
I'm here for the German Education and Science Union called GEW. Together with Bodo Busch, who's also here, I'm head of a queer committee in Germany. And yeah, what should I reflect on? I did not have time to visit a workshop, but I'm really impressed and empowered because of all the presentations we had before, especially Emerson really touched me with the intersectional story, and thank you for sharing your story with us. I know this emotional work is always hard, standing on stage and telling your story, because you always may end to, oh come on, it was not that bad. So coming out even to the community is not all
identity. However, what we find in New Zealand is that is the one place particularly where workers are targeted. Under the previous government, we had a 90-day thing where you could work, and after 90 days they could turf you out for no reason. And it was often trans workers who were losing their jobs after that period of time. And so that's not just in education, that's across the board in many sectors. In the workshop that we were doing earlier today, many people were a little bit shocked at some of the things that we have in New Zealand. So one of the documents we have, which I'll just read from here,